What if I told you that the world we live in today was shaped by events so ancient, so mysterious, that most of us have never even heard of them? Picture this, a civilization so advanced, it had running water and sewage systems thousands of years before the Romans, yet it vanished without a trace, leaving behind only whispers of its existence. This is just one of the countless forgotten moments in history that changed the course of humanity forever. Welcome to a journey through time where we uncover 25 of the most overlooked yet pivotal events that shaped ancient history. These are not the stories you learned in school. These are the hidden threads that wove the fabric of our modern world, from the rise and fall of empires to the secrets buried beneath the sands of time. Each event holds a story so fascinating, so full of intrigue, that it will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the past. From the mysterious collapse of the Indus Valley Civilization to the legendary fall of Troy, and from the devastating plagues that brought empires to their knees to the epic battles that redrew the map of the ancient world, we'll explore how these forgotten moments influenced the course of history. By the end of this video, you'll see the ancient world in a whole new light, and you might just discover how these events still echo in our lives today. So, are you ready to uncover the secrets of the past? Let's dive into the first of these 25 forgotten events that shaped ancient history. Trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. Now, turning to the first of these forgotten events, we delve into the mysterious collapse of the Indus Valley Civilization, one of the world's earliest urban cultures. Flourishing around 2600 BC, this civilization was a marvel of its time, boasting advanced urban planning, intricate drainage systems, and a level of organization that rivaled even the greatest empires of antiquity. Yet, by around 1900 BC, it had vanished, leaving behind only ruins and unanswered questions. What caused the downfall of such a sophisticated society? Scholars have proposed several theories. One leading idea points to climate change, suggesting that shifting weather patterns may have disrupted the region's agriculture, leading to food shortages and societal collapse. Another theory focuses on the shifting courses of rivers, which could have devastated the civilization's water supply and trade routes. Some even speculate that invasions by nomadic tribes played a role, though evidence for this remains scarce. What makes the Indus Valley Civilization's collapse so significant is not just its sudden disappearance, but what was lost with it. This society had mastered urban planning on a scale unseen in its time, with grid-like cities, standardized brick sizes, and advanced sanitation systems that included covered drains and private bathrooms. These innovations were centuries ahead of their time, and their loss set back the development of urban life in South Asia for generations. The collapse of the Indus Valley Civilization also had a profound impact on the cultural and political landscape of the region. Its decline created a power vacuum that allowed new cultures and kingdoms to emerge, shaping the trajectory of South Asian history for centuries to come. While the civilization itself faded into obscurity, its legacy lives on in the archaeological wonders it left behind, offering us a glimpse into a world that was far more advanced than we often give it credit for. As we move forward, we'll explore how this forgotten event set the stage for the rise and fall of other ancient powers, each leaving its own mark on the tapestry of history. Now, turning to the next chapter of ancient history, we encounter one of the most enigmatic and destructive events of the ancient world, the invasion of the Sea Peoples. Around 1200 BC, this mysterious group of marauders swept across the Mediterranean, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. Empires that had stood for centuries, like the Hittites and Egyptians, found themselves under siege, their cities sacked and their power structures crumbling. Who were the Sea Peoples? This question has puzzled historians for centuries. Ancient texts from Egypt and other civilizations describe them as a confederation of seafaring raiders, but their exact origins remain shrouded in mystery. Some theories suggest they came from the Aegean or Anatolia, while others propose they were displaced populations fleeing environmental disasters or political upheaval. What is clear, however, is that their arrival marked the beginning of the end for many of the great powers of the Bronze Age. The chaos unleashed by the Sea Peoples was catastrophic. The Hittite Empire, once a dominant force in Anatolia, collapsed entirely. Egypt, though it managed to repel the invaders under the leadership of Pharaoh Ramses III, was left weakened and vulnerable. Trade routes were disrupted, cities were abandoned, and entire civilizations were plunged into a dark age. This period, known as the Bronze Age collapse, saw the disappearance of advanced writing systems, monumental architecture, and complex political systems across the Mediterranean. But the invasion of the Sea Peoples wasn't just a story of destruction, it was also a catalyst for change. In the aftermath of their raids, new powers began to rise. The political vacuum left by the collapse of the Hittites and the weakening of Egypt allowed smaller states and emerging cultures to assert themselves. The Phoenicians, for example, rose to prominence as master traders and navigators, while the Greeks began to lay the foundations for their future dominance in the region. The Sea Peoples' invasion reshaped the ancient Mediterranean in ways that would echo for centuries. It marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new one, setting the stage for the rise of the classical civilizations that would follow. As we continue our journey through these forgotten events, we'll see how this moment of chaos and upheaval became a turning point in the story of the ancient world. Now turning to the next chapter of ancient history, we arrive at the sudden and dramatic fall of the Minoan Civilization, a once thriving culture that dominated the Aegean around 1450 BC. The Minoans, known for their advanced architecture, vibrant art, and sophisticated trade networks, seemed to vanish almost overnight, leaving behind a mystery that has fascinated historians and archaeologists for centuries. What caused the collapse of this remarkable civilization? One of the most compelling theories points to the catastrophic eruption of Thera, the volcanic island now known as Santorini. This eruption, one of the largest in recorded history, would have unleashed tsunamis, earthquakes, and a thick blanket of ash across the region. The Minoan settlements on Crete, the heart of their civilization, would have been devastated by these natural disasters, crippling their economy and infrastructure. But nature may not have been the only force at play. Around the same time, the Mycenaeans, a warrior culture from mainland Greece, began to expand their influence. Some scholars believe that the Mycenaeans took advantage of the Minoans' weakened state, invading and eventually overtaking their cities. Evidence of Mycenaean presence in Crete, including the adoption of Minoan artistic styles and administrative practices, suggests a complex interplay of conquest and cultural assimilation. The fall of the Minoans marked a turning point in the Aegean world. With their decline, the Mycenaeans rose to prominence, becoming the dominant power in the region. This shift laid the groundwork for the later development of classical Greek civilization. The Mycenaeans borrowed heavily from Minoan culture, blending it with their own traditions to create a new and dynamic society. The legacy of the Minoans also lives on in myth and legend. Some historians believe that the story of Atlantis, a prosperous island civilization destroyed by a cataclysmic event, may have been inspired by the fate of the Minoans. The eruption of Thera, with its dramatic and sudden destruction, fits eerily well with the descriptions of Atlantis's downfall. The fall of the Minoan civilization reminds us of the fragility of even the most advanced societies. Whether brought down by natural disaster, invasion, or a combination of both, their story is a testament to the unpredictable forces that shape history. As we continue our exploration of these forgotten events, we'll see how the rise and fall of ancient civilizations continue to influence the world we live in today. Now turning to the next chapter of ancient history, we find ourselves in Egypt during a time of dramatic change and foreign influence. Around 1650 BC, a group known as the Hyksos, whose name means rulers of foreign lands, took control of Lower Egypt. This marked a significant departure from the traditional Egyptian dynasties, as the Hyksos were not native to the region but rather Semitic-speaking people who migrated from the Levant. The Hyksos brought with them advanced military technologies that would forever alter the course of Egyptian warfare. Among their innovations were the horse-drawn chariot and the composite bow, both of which gave them a significant advantage in battle. The chariot, in particular, revolutionized mobility on the battlefield, allowing for rapid movement and strategic maneuvers that the Egyptians had not previously encountered. These advancements not only enabled the Hyksos to establish their rule, but also forced the Egyptians to adapt and innovate in response. For over a century, the Hyksos ruled Lower Egypt from their capital at Avaris, while the native Egyptian rulers maintained control of Upper Egypt from Thebes. This division created a tense and often hostile relationship between the two powers. However, the Hyksos' reign was not merely a period of conflict. They also introduced new cultural and technological influences, including improved pottery techniques and the use of bronze tools, which enriched Egyptian society. The turning point came when the Theban king Ahmose I launched a campaign to expel the Hyksos from Egypt. Around 1550 BC, after years of struggle, Ahmose succeeded in driving the Hyksos out of the Nile Delta. This victory marked the beginning of the New Kingdom, a period of renewed strength and expansion for Egypt. The expulsion of the Hyksos had far-reaching consequences. It not only restored Egyptian sovereignty but also set the stage for Egypt's transformation into an imperial power. The New Kingdom pharaohs, inspired by their victory over the Hyksos, embarked on ambitious military campaigns to expand their territory, securing Egypt's dominance in the ancient world. The Hyksos' rule, though brief, left an indelible mark on Egyptian history. Their introduction of advanced military technology forced Egypt to modernize its army, while their cultural contributions enriched the fabric of Egyptian society. The story of the Hyksos reminds us that even periods of foreign domination can lead to profound and lasting change, shaping the course of history in unexpected ways. As we continue our journey through these forgotten events, we'll see how the rise and fall of empires continue to shape the world we know today. Now turning to the next chapter of ancient history, we find ourselves in the year 701 BC, witnessing one of the most brutal and meticulously documented military campaigns of the ancient world, the Assyrian siege of Lachish. This event stands as a stark reminder of the Assyrian Empire's relentless ambition and its unparalleled military prowess. Lachish, a fortified city in the Kingdom of Judah, was a key strategic target for the Assyrians. Under the command of King Sennacherib, the Assyrian army descended upon the city with overwhelming force. The siege was not just a military operation, it was a calculated display of power designed to intimidate and subjugate. The Assyrians employed advanced siege tactics, including the use of massive siege ramps, battering rams, and archers to breach the city's defenses. The reliefs carved into the walls of Sennacherib's palace in Nineveh vividly depict the horrors of the siege, showing the city's walls being scaled, its defenders slaughtered, and its inhabitants led into captivity. The fall of Lachish was a devastating blow to Judah and a testament to Assyria's dominance in the region. The city's capture sent a clear message to other kingdoms: resistance was futile. The Assyrians were not only masters of warfare but also of psychological warfare, using fear and destruction to maintain control over their vast empire. Archaeological excavations at the site of Lachish have provided remarkable insights into this event. The remains of the siege ramp, weapons, and even the charred debris from the city's destruction have been uncovered, offering a tangible connection to this ancient tragedy. One of the most striking discoveries is the Lachish reliefs, which provide a detailed visual record of the siege, from the assault on the walls to the deportation of the city's population. These artifacts bring the story to life, allowing us to glimpse the brutality and precision of Assyrian warfare. The siege of Lachish had profound political implications. It solidified Assyria's control over the region and weakened Judah's ability to resist further incursions. However, it also highlighted the resilience of the Judean people, who, despite the devastation, managed to rebuild and continue their struggle for survival. This event serves as a powerful example of how military conquest shaped the ancient world, leaving behind both physical ruins and enduring legacies. As we move forward in our exploration of forgotten events, we'll see how the echoes of such conflicts continue to resonate through history, shaping the destinies of nations and peoples. Now turning to another pivotal moment in ancient history, we find ourselves in the year 1274 BCE, witnessing one of the most significant military confrontations of the ancient world, the Battle of Kadesh. This clash between the Egyptian forces led by Pharaoh Ramses II and the Hittite army under King Muwatalli II is not only one of the earliest recorded battles in history, but also a masterclass in strategy, diplomacy, and the art of war. The Battle of Kadesh took place near the city of Kadesh, a strategic stronghold in modern-day Syria, which both empires sought to control. The Egyptians and Hittites were two of the most powerful civilizations of their time, and their rivalry over this region was fierce. Ramses II, eager to expand his empire, marched his army northward, only to find himself ambushed by the Hittite forces. The battle that followed was a dramatic display of military ingenuity and resilience. One of the most striking aspects of the Battle of Kadesh was the extensive use of chariots. Both sides deployed thousands of these fast, maneuverable vehicles, which played a crucial role in the battle's outcome. The Egyptians relied on lighter, faster chariots, while the Hittites used heavier, more robust ones designed to break through enemy lines. The clash of these chariot forces created a chaotic and deadly battlefield, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. Despite the initial Hittite ambush, Ramses II managed to rally his troops and turn the tide of the battle. His ability to adapt to the rapidly changing situation on the battlefield showcased his leadership and tactical brilliance. However, the battle ended in a stalemate, with neither side achieving a decisive victory. This inconclusive outcome led to one of the most remarkable developments in ancient history, the signing of the Treaty of Kadesh. The Treaty of Kadesh, often regarded as the first recorded international peace agreement, marked a turning point in diplomatic relations. The treaty not only ended hostilities between the Egyptians and Hittites, but also established a framework for mutual respect and cooperation. It included clauses on non-aggression, mutual defense, and the extradition of fugitives, setting a precedent for future diplomatic negotiations. The Battle of Kadesh and its aftermath highlight the complexities of ancient warfare and diplomacy. It demonstrates how even in the midst of conflict there was room for negotiation and compromise. The legacy of this battle and the treaty that followed continues to resonate, offering valuable lessons on the importance of diplomacy in resolving conflicts. As we move forward in our exploration of forgotten events, we'll see how the echoes of such monumental clashes shaped the course of history, influencing the rise and fall of empires and the relationships between nations. Now turning to the enigmatic world of Mesoamerica, we encounter one of the most intriguing mysteries of ancient history, the Olmec Colossal Heads. Carved between 1200 and 400 BCE, these massive stone sculptures are among the most iconic artifacts of the Olmec Civilization, often referred to as the mother culture of Mesoamerica. The Olmec Colossal Heads, some weighing as much as 20 tons, are believed to represent powerful rulers or deities. Each head is unique, featuring distinct facial features, headdresses, and expressions, suggesting they were portraits of significant individuals. The sheer size and precision of these sculptures are a testament to the Olmec's advanced engineering and artistic skills, especially considering they were created without the use of metal tools or the wheel. What makes these heads even more fascinating is the mystery surrounding their purpose and construction. How did the Olmecs transport these massive stones from quarries located miles away? What tools and techniques did they use to carve such intricate details? While scholars have proposed various theories, from the use of log rollers to water transport, the exact methods remain a subject of debate. The influence of the Olmec civilization extended far beyond their colossal heads. Their art, religion, and societal structures laid the groundwork for later Mesoamerican cultures, including the Maya and Aztecs. The Olmecs introduced concepts like ceremonial ball games, pyramid building, and the worship of jaguar deities, which became central to the cultural identity of their successors. The colossal heads also raise questions about the Olmecs' worldview. Were they symbols of power meant to intimidate rivals and assert dominance, or did they serve a religious purpose, perhaps as offerings to the gods or markers of sacred spaces? The answers remain elusive, adding to the allure of these ancient masterpieces. As we reflect on the Olmec Colossal Heads, we are reminded of the enduring legacy of this remarkable civilization. Their achievements not only shaped the cultural landscape of Mesoamerica, but also continue to captivate and inspire us today. Moving forward, we'll explore how other forgotten events left their mark on history, revealing the interconnectedness of ancient civilizations and the timeless nature of human ingenuity. Now turning to the legendary tale of Troy, we step into one of the most enduring stories of ancient history, the fall of Troy, traditionally dated to around 1184 BC. This event, immortalized in Homer's epic poem, the Iliad, has captivated imaginations for millennia, blending myth and history into a narrative that shaped the cultural identity of the ancient Greeks and Romans. The story of Troy's destruction revolves around the Trojan War, a conflict sparked by the abduction of Helen, the wife of the Spartan king Menelaus, by Paris, a prince of Troy. According to legend, the Greeks, led by Agamemnon, laid siege to the city for 10 years, culminating in the infamous ruse of the Trojan horse. This wooden structure, supposedly a gift, concealed Greek soldiers who emerged at night to open the gates, allowing the Greek army to sack the city. But how much of this story is rooted in historical fact? Archaeological excavations at the site of Hyksos in modern-day Turkey have revealed multiple layers of a city, each corresponding to different periods of occupation. One of these layers, known as Troy 7a, shows signs of destruction by fire and warfare around the time traditionally associated with the Trojan War. This has led some scholars to suggest that the myth of Troy may have been inspired by real events, though the details remain shrouded in mystery. The fall of Troy became a cornerstone of Greek and Roman cultural identity. For the Greeks, it symbolized the triumph of cunning and perseverance over adversity. The heroes of the Trojan War, such as Achilles, Odysseus, and Hector, became archetypes of bravery, loyalty, and tragedy, their stories passed down through generations. For the Romans, the tale took on additional significance as they traced their ancestry back to Aeneas, a Trojan prince who fled the burning city and eventually founded the lineage that would lead to Rome. The legacy of Troy extends far beyond its historical or archaeological significance. It became a symbol of the fragility of human endeavors and the enduring power of storytelling. The fall of Troy reminds us that even the mightiest cities can crumble, but their stories can live on, shaping the identities of civilizations for centuries to come. As we leave the ruins of Troy behind, we move forward to explore another pivotal event that reshaped the ancient world, the rise of the Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great. This next chapter will reveal how one man's vision transformed a region and laid the foundation for one of history's greatest empires. Now turning to the rise of the Persian Empire, we step into a transformative chapter of ancient history that reshaped the political and cultural landscape of the ancient world. In the 6th century BCE, a visionary leader named Cyrus the Great emerged, uniting the disparate tribes of Persia and setting the stage for one of the most expansive empires the world had ever seen. Cyrus's rise to power began with his conquest of the Median Empire, which laid the foundation for his growing influence. But it was his capture of Babylon in 539 BC that truly marked a turning point. Unlike many conquerors of his time, Cyrus adopted a policy of tolerance and respect toward the cultures and religions of the lands he conquered. His famous cylinder, often referred to as the First Charter of Human Rights, declared freedom for enslaved peoples and allowed displaced populations such as the Jews to return to their homelands. This approach not only secured the loyalty of his subjects but also fostered stability and prosperity across his empire. Under Cyrus and his successors, the Achaemenid Empire expanded to become the largest empire of its time, stretching from the Indus Valley in the east to the Aegean Sea in the west. This vast territory was connected by an extensive network of roads, including the Royal Road, which facilitated communication, trade, and the movement of troops. The empire's administrative system, divided into provinces called satrapies, allowed for efficient governance and the collection of taxes, ensuring the empire's longevity. The Persian Empire's impact extended far beyond its borders. Its emphasis on cultural exchange and tolerance influenced the regions it ruled, blending Persian, Mesopotamian, Egyptian, and Greek traditions. The empire's art and architecture, such as the grand palaces of Persepolis, showcased its wealth and sophistication, while its innovations in governance and infrastructure set a precedent for future empires. Trade flourished under Persian rule, as the empire's control of key trade routes connected the east and west, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies. This interconnectedness laid the groundwork for the later Silk Road and contributed to the spread of cultures and knowledge across Eurasia. The rise of the Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great was not just a story of conquest but a testament to the power of visionary leadership and inclusive governance. It set a standard for empire building that would influence civilizations for centuries to come. As we leave the grandeur of the Persian Empire behind, we move forward to explore another pivotal moment in ancient history, the Battle of Marathon, where the fate of Greek independence hung in the balance. This next chapter will reveal how a small but determined force stood against the might of the Persian Empire, shaping the course of Western civilization. Now turning to the Battle of Marathon, we find ourselves in the year 490 BCE, where a small but determined Athenian force faced the overwhelming might of the Persian Empire. This clash was not just a battle for territory but a fight for the survival of Greek independence and the ideals that would shape Western civilization. The Persian Empire under King Darius I sought to expand its influence into Greece, punishing Athens for its support of the Ionian Revolt. A massive Persian fleet landed at Marathon, a coastal plain northeast of Athens, with an army vastly outnumbering the Athenian forces. The Athenians, however, were not alone. They were joined by a small contingent of Plataeans, their allies, who stood with them in this critical moment. Despite being heavily outnumbered, the Athenian general Miltiades devised a bold strategy. He ordered his troops to form a strong center but thin their flanks, creating a crescent-shaped formation. As the battle commenced, the Persian forces, confident in their numbers, pushed through the weakened Athenian center, but this was part of Miltiades' plan. The stronger Athenian flanks closed in, encircling the Persian troops and causing chaos in their ranks. The result was a stunning victory for the Athenians, who managed to repel the Persian invasion with minimal losses. The significance of this victory cannot be overstated. The Battle of Marathon preserved Greek independence and demonstrated that the Persian Empire, despite its vast resources, was not invincible. This triumph bolstered Greek confidence and set the stage for future resistance against Persian invasions, including the famous stand at Thermopylae and the naval victory at Salamis. But the story of Marathon does not end on the battlefield. According to legend, a messenger named Pheidipides was sent to Athens to deliver the news of the victory. Running the roughly 26 miles from Marathon to Athens, he reportedly burst into the city, exclaimed, "We have won," and then collapsed from exhaustion. This legendary run is the inspiration for the modern marathon, a testament to the enduring legacy of this ancient battle. The Battle of Marathon was more than a military victory, it was a turning point in history. It preserved the cultural and political independence of Greece, allowing the flourishing of philosophy, democracy, and the arts that would later influence the Western world. As we reflect on this pivotal moment, we are reminded of the courage and ingenuity that can change the course of history. With the echoes of Marathon still resonating, we now turn to the next chapter in our journey, the fall of Carthage, a dramatic event that marked the rise of Rome as a dominant Mediterranean power. Now turning to the fall of Carthage, we find ourselves in the year 146 BCE, a moment that marked the end of one of the ancient world's most storied cities and the rise of Rome as the unchallenged power of the Mediterranean. This event was the culmination of a bitter rivalry that had spanned over a century, a conflict rooted in territorial ambition, economic competition, and deep-seated animosity. The Third Punic War, which began in 149 BCE, was the final chapter in the struggle between Rome and Carthage. By this time, Carthage had already been weakened by its defeats in the first two Punic Wars, losing its overseas territories and much of its military strength. Yet the city remained a prosperous trading hub, and its very existence was seen as a threat by Rome. The Roman senator Cotto the Elder famously ended every speech with the phrase, "Carthage must be destroyed," a sentiment that reflected Rome's determination to eliminate its rival once and for all. The Roman siege of Carthage was brutal and relentless. For 3 years, the Carthaginians held out against the Roman forces, but their resistance was ultimately futile. The Romans, led by Scipio Aemilianus, systematically broke through the city's defenses, blockading its ports and cutting off supplies. When the walls were finally breached, the fighting spilled into the streets, and the city was subjected to a massacre. The Romans showed no mercy, slaughtering the inhabitants and enslaving the survivors. The destruction of Carthage was total. The city was razed to the ground, its buildings demolished, and its fields sown with salt to ensure nothing could grow there again. This act of annihilation was not just a military victory, but a symbolic one, designed to erase Carthage from history and ensure it could never rise again. The fall of Carthage had profound implications for the ancient world. It marked the end of Carthage as a major power and solidified Rome's dominance over the Western Mediterranean. With its greatest rival eliminated, Rome was free to expand its influence unchecked, laying the foundation for its eventual transformation into a vast empire. But the legacy of Carthage endured. The city's destruction became a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition and the ruthlessness of power. It also served as a reminder of the high cost of rivalry and conflict, themes that resonate even today. As we reflect on the fall of Carthage, we are reminded of the fragility of even the mightiest civilizations and the forces that can bring them to ruin. With this chapter closed, we now turn to the next event in our journey, the unification of China under the Qin dynasty, a transformative moment that reshaped the ancient world. Now turning to the unification of China under the Qin dynasty, we find ourselves in the year 221 BC, a pivotal moment that reshaped the ancient world. This event marked the end of centuries of warring states and the beginning of a unified Chinese empire, a transformation that would leave a lasting legacy on history. The man behind this monumental achievement was Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. His rise to power was marked by ambition, strategic brilliance, and an unyielding determination to centralize authority. After conquering the rival states, Qin Shi Huang implemented a series of sweeping reforms that would standardize and unify the vast territories under his rule. One of his most significant achievements was the standardization of writing. Before the Qin dynasty, China was a patchwork of states, each with its own script and language. Qin Shi Huang introduced a unified writing system, which not only facilitated communication across the empire but also strengthened cultural cohesion. This reform laid the foundation for a shared Chinese identity that persists to this day. In addition to writing, Qin Shi Huang standardized currency, weights, and measurements. These changes streamlined trade and administration, making it easier to govern the empire's diverse regions. The introduction of a single currency, the Banliang coin, replaced the various forms of money used by the warring states, creating a more efficient economic system. Perhaps the most iconic legacy of the Qin dynasty is the construction of the Great Wall of China. While earlier walls had been built by individual states, Qin Shi Huang ordered their connection and expansion into a single, formidable barrier. This massive project was designed to protect the empire from northern invaders, but it also symbolized the emperor's vision of a unified and secure China. Despite these monumental achievements, the Qin dynasty was short-lived. Qin Shi Huang's authoritarian rule and harsh policies, including forced labor and heavy taxation, bred resentment among the people. After his death in 210 BCE, the dynasty quickly unraveled, succumbing to rebellion and internal strife. Yet, the impact of the Qin dynasty was profound and enduring. Its reforms laid the groundwork for the Han dynasty, which would build upon Qin Shi Huang's legacy and usher in a golden age of Chinese civilization. The unification of China under the Qin dynasty not only transformed the region but also set the stage for its future as one of the world's great empires. As we reflect on this transformative chapter, we are reminded of the power of vision and the complexities of leadership. With the unification of China behind us, we now turn to the next event in our journey, the destruction of the Library of Alexandria, a tragic loss that forever altered the course of human knowledge. Now turning to the destruction of the Library of Alexandria, we enter a chapter of history marked by tragedy and the irreplaceable loss of knowledge. The Library of Alexandria, founded in the 3rd century BCE in Egypt, was one of the most significant centers of learning in the ancient world. It housed an unparalleled collection of scrolls and texts, drawing scholars, philosophers, and scientists from across the Mediterranean. This institution was not just a library but a beacon of intellectual progress, where ideas from different cultures were preserved, studied, and shared. The exact circumstances of the library's destruction remain shrouded in mystery, with several theories proposed over the centuries. One of the most widely discussed events is the fire that broke out during Julius Caesar's siege of Alexandria in 48 BC. As Caesar's forces clashed with those of Ptolemy XIII, flames engulfed parts of the city, including areas near the library. While it is unclear whether the library itself was completely destroyed, this event is believed to have caused significant damage to its collections. Another theory points to later attacks on the library, including possible destruction during the Roman Emperor Aurelian's campaigns in the 3rd century CE, or the decree by the Christian Emperor Theodosius in the late 4th century CE, which targeted pagan institutions. Some accounts also suggest that the library suffered during the Muslim conquest of Alexandria in the 7th century CE. However, historians debate the extent of these events, as evidence remains fragmented and often contradictory. What is undeniable is the magnitude of the loss. The Library of Alexandria held works from across the ancient world, including texts on philosophy, science, mathematics, and literature. Among its treasures were writings by thinkers like Aristotle, Euclid, and Archimedes, as well as countless other works that have since been lost to time. The destruction of the library represents not just the loss of physical scrolls, but the erasure of ideas, discoveries, and cultural heritage that could have shaped human knowledge in profound ways. The impact of this loss reverberates even today. Many ancient texts survived only in fragments or through later copies, leaving gaps in our understanding of the past. The Library of Alexandria serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of knowledge and the importance of preserving it for future generations. As we reflect on this tragic event, we are reminded of the enduring value of learning and the need to protect the repositories of human wisdom. With the story of the Library of Alexandria behind us, we now turn to the next event in our journey, the Battle of Alesia, a defining moment in Julius Caesar's rise to power and the expansion of the Roman Empire. Now turning to the Battle of Alesia, we witness one of the most remarkable military campaigns in ancient history. In 52 BC, Julius Caesar faced a formidable challenge as he sought to subdue the Gallic tribes led by the charismatic leader Vercingetorix. The battle took place at Alesia, a fortified hilltop settlement in modern-day France, and would become a defining moment in Caesar's career and the expansion of the Roman Empire. Vercingetorix, a skilled and determined leader, had united the Gallic tribes in a fierce resistance against Roman domination. Recognizing the strength of Caesar's forces, he chose to make his stand at Alesia, a strategic location surrounded by steep terrain. However, Caesar, known for his tactical brilliance, responded with an unprecedented strategy. He ordered the construction of two massive siege walls, one encircling Alesia to trap Vercingetorix and his army inside, and another facing outward to defend against a Gallic relief force that was expected to arrive. The scale of these fortifications was staggering. The inner wall stretched over 10 miles, while the outer wall extended nearly 14 miles, complete with trenches, watchtowers, and traps designed to repel any attack. Caesar's forces worked tirelessly to complete these defenses, showcasing the discipline and engineering prowess of the Roman army. When the Gallic relief force arrived, they launched a series of fierce assaults on Caesar's outer defenses, while Vercingetorix and his men attempted to break out from within. The battle raged for days, with both sides fighting desperately. Caesar, however, maintained his composure, directing his troops with precision and exploiting every advantage. In the end, the Romans emerged victorious thanks to their superior tactics and unwavering resolve. The defeat of Vercingetorix marked the end of organized Gallic resistance and solidified Roman control over Gaul. This victory not only expanded Rome's territory, but also enhanced Caesar's reputation as a military genius and a formidable leader. It was a turning point in his rise to power, setting the stage for his eventual dominance in Roman politics. The Battle of Alesia also stands as a testament to the ingenuity and adaptability of ancient warfare. Caesar's use of double siege walls was a groundbreaking tactic that demonstrated the importance of strategy and innovation in overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds. As we reflect on this pivotal event, we are reminded of the profound impact it had on the course of history. The fall of Alesia not only reshaped the political landscape of ancient Europe, but also cemented Julius Caesar's legacy as one of history's most influential figures. With this victory behind us, we now turn to the next chapter in our exploration of forgotten events that shaped the ancient world. Now turning to the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, we uncover one of the most devastating natural disasters in ancient history. In 79 CE, the seemingly dormant volcano unleashed a catastrophic eruption that buried the Roman cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum under layers of ash, pumice, and volcanic debris. This event, while tragic, has provided modern historians and archaeologists with an unparalleled glimpse into the daily lives of ancient Romans. The eruption began with a massive column of ash and gas shooting into the sky, followed by a deadly pyroclastic surge that engulfed the surrounding areas. Pompeii, a bustling port city, and Herculaneum, a smaller but wealthier town, were both caught off guard. The speed and intensity of the eruption left little time for escape, and thousands perished in the disaster. What makes this event so remarkable is the level of preservation it left behind. The volcanic ash acted as a natural time capsule, freezing the cities in a moment of time. Buildings, artifacts, and even the remains of the victims were preserved in astonishing detail. From frescoes and mosaics to household items and food, the ruins of Pompeii and Herculaneum offer a vivid snapshot of Roman life. The human tragedy of the eruption is deeply moving. Plaster casts of the victims, created by filling the voids left by their decomposed bodies, reveal the final moments of those who perished. Families huddled together, individuals attempting to shield themselves, and even pets caught in the chaos, all serve as poignant reminders of the fragility of life. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius had a profound impact on Roman society. The loss of two thriving cities was a blow to the region's economy and culture. However, the disaster also sparked a renewed interest in understanding natural phenomena, as Roman scholars like Pliny the Younger documented the event in detail. His accounts remain some of the most valuable sources for understanding the eruption and its aftermath. As we reflect on this tragic event, we are reminded of the power of nature and the resilience of human civilization. The ruins of Pompeii and Herculaneum continue to captivate us, offering a window into the past and a testament to the enduring legacy of the ancient world. With this chapter behind us, we now move forward to explore the next forgotten event that shaped ancient history. Now turning to the Antonine Plague, we delve into one of the most devastating pandemics of the ancient world. Between 165 and 180 CE, this deadly disease swept through the Roman Empire, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Believed to have been brought back by Roman soldiers returning from campaigns in the Near East, the plague spread rapidly across the empire, affecting both urban centers and rural areas alike. The Antonine Plague, often identified as smallpox or measles, struck with terrifying speed and lethality. Symptoms included high fever, skin eruptions, and severe internal damage, leading to a high mortality rate. Cities like Rome, with their dense populations, were hit particularly hard. The streets filled with the sick and dying, and the empire's infrastructure struggled to cope with the overwhelming crisis. The impact on the Roman Empire was catastrophic. Estimates suggest that millions perished, including soldiers, farmers, and even emperors. The loss of such a significant portion of the population had dire consequences for the empire's economy and military. Farms were abandoned, trade routes disrupted, and the Roman legions, already stretched thin, faced severe manpower shortages. This weakened the empire's ability to defend its borders and maintain control over its vast territories. The Antonine Plague also marked the beginning of the end for the Pax Romana, the period of relative peace and stability that had defined the empire for centuries. The plague's devastation eroded public confidence in the government's ability to protect its citizens, and the economic downturn fueled social unrest. The empire, once a beacon of prosperity, began to show cracks that would eventually lead to its decline. Despite the tragedy, the Antonine Plague also spurred advancements in medicine and public health. Roman physicians like Galen documented the disease and its symptoms, laying the groundwork for future medical understanding. The crisis also highlighted the importance of sanitation and disease prevention, lessons that would resonate for centuries to come. As we reflect on the Antonine Plague, we are reminded of the fragility of human societies in the face of disease. This forgotten event not only reshaped the Roman Empire, but also left a lasting legacy on the course of history. With this chapter behind us, we now move forward to explore the next forgotten event that shaped ancient history. Now turning to the fall of the Western Roman Empire, we examine one of the most pivotal moments in ancient history. In the year 476 CE, the Western Roman Empire officially came to an end when the Germanic chieftain Odoacer deposed the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus. This event marked the conclusion of an era that had shaped the Mediterranean world for centuries and signaled the beginning of a new age, the Middle Ages. The fall of the Western Roman Empire was not the result of a single event, but rather a combination of internal and external pressures that had been building for decades. Internally, the empire faced severe economic decline. Heavy taxation, inflation, and a reliance on slave labor had weakened the economy, while corruption and political instability plagued the government. The empire's vast size also made it difficult to govern effectively, leading to frequent power struggles and a lack of cohesive leadership. Externally, the empire was under constant threat from barbarian invasions. Germanic tribes such as the Visigoths, Vandals, and Ostrogoths, driven by their own pressures and seeking new lands, repeatedly breached the empire's borders. The sack of Rome by the Visigoths in 410 CE was a particularly devastating blow, shattering the illusion of Roman invincibility. By the mid-5th century, much of the Western Empire's territory had been overrun, and its military was no longer able to defend its frontiers. The deposition of Romulus Augustulus in 476 CE was the final nail in the coffin. Oedos's rule marked the end of Roman authority in the West, though the Eastern Roman Empire, or Byzantine Empire, would continue to thrive for nearly another 1,000 years. The fall of the Western Empire led to a period of fragmentation and decentralization, as Europe transitioned into the feudal system of the Middle Ages. Despite its collapse, the legacy of the Western Roman Empire endured. Roman law, language, and culture profoundly influenced the development of Europe. The Catholic Church, which had grown in prominence during the empire's decline, became a unifying force in the medieval world, preserving and spreading Roman traditions. The fall of Rome also paved the way for the rise of new kingdoms and cultures, shaping the course of European history for centuries to come. As we reflect on the fall of the Western Roman Empire, we see a story of resilience and transformation. Though the empire fell, its influence lived on, reminding us that even in decline, great civilizations leave an indelible mark on the world. With this chapter behind us, we now move forward to explore the next forgotten event that shaped ancient history. Now turning to the rise of the Gupta Empire, we journey to ancient India around the year 320 CE, a period often celebrated as the golden age of Indian history. Under the leadership of its founding ruler, Chandragupta I, the Gupta Empire emerged as a beacon of cultural and intellectual achievement, leaving a lasting legacy that would shape the subcontinent for centuries to come. The Gupta Empire is renowned for its remarkable advancements in science, mathematics, art, and literature. During this era, Indian scholars made groundbreaking contributions to mathematics, including the concept of zero and the decimal system, which revolutionized numerical calculations and laid the foundation for modern mathematics. Astronomers like Aryabhatta accurately calculated the Earth's rotation and the length of the solar year, while medical texts such as the Sushruta Samhita detailed sophisticated surgical techniques and treatments. Art and literature also flourished under Gupta patronage. The empire's artists produced exquisite sculptures and paintings, many of which adorned the walls of temples and monasteries. The Ajanta and Ellora caves, with their intricate carvings and vibrant frescoes, stand as enduring testaments to the Gupta era's artistic brilliance. In literature, poets and playwrights like Kalidasa created timeless works such as Shakuntala, which continue to be celebrated for their poetic beauty and emotional depth. The Gupta Empire's influence extended beyond its borders, fostering cultural exchange and trade across Asia. Its rulers promoted Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, creating an environment of religious tolerance and intellectual curiosity. The empire's administrative efficiency and economic prosperity further solidified its reputation as a golden age, with thriving trade networks connecting India to distant lands. However, like all great empires, the Gupta Empire eventually faced decline. By the mid-6th century CE, internal strife, invasions by the Huns, and economic challenges weakened its hold. Despite its fall, the Gupta Empire's contributions to science, art, and culture endured, shaping the identity of India and influencing civilizations far beyond its borders. As we reflect on the rise and legacy of the Gupta Empire, we are reminded of the transformative power of knowledge and creativity. This golden age not only enriched India but also left an indelible mark on the world, proving that even in the distant past, human ingenuity could achieve extraordinary heights. With this chapter behind us, we now move forward to explore the next forgotten event that shaped ancient history. Now turning to the Hunnic invasions, we step into the turbulent 5th century CE, a time when the nomadic warriors led by Attila the Hun swept across Europe, leaving a trail of destruction and reshaping the continent's political landscape. Known as the Scourge of God, Attila and his Hunnic armies struck fear into the hearts of both the Eastern and Western Roman empires, accelerating the decline of Rome and paving the way for the rise of new kingdoms. The Huns were a nomadic people skilled in horsemanship and archery, whose mobility and ferocity made them formidable opponents. Their military tactics relied on speed, surprise, and psychological warfare, often overwhelming their enemies before they could mount a defense. Attila, in particular, was a master strategist, uniting the disparate Hunnic tribes into a cohesive force that could challenge the might of Rome. The Huns' invasions began in earnest in the early 5th century CE as they pushed westward from the steppes of Central Asia. By the 430s, they had established a vast empire stretching from the Caspian Sea to the Danube River. Their raids into Roman territories were relentless, targeting cities and settlements for plunder and tribute. The Eastern Roman Empire, in particular, was forced to pay heavy sums to keep the Huns at bay, a strategy that only delayed the inevitable. In the year 451, Attila turned his attention to the Western Roman Empire, crossing the Rhine River and invading Gaul. The Roman general Flavius Aetius, allied with the Visigoths, managed to halt the Hunnic advance at the Battle of the Catalonian Plains, a rare setback for Attila. However, the following year, Attila launched an invasion of Italy, sacking cities and threatening Rome itself. Only the intervention of Pope Leo I, who met with Attila and persuaded him to withdraw, spared the city from destruction. The Huns' impact on Europe was profound. Their invasions destabilized the already fragile Roman Empire, weakening its military and economic resources. The fear they instilled in their enemies contributed to the collapse of Roman authority in the West, as local populations sought protection from barbarian leaders rather than the distant Roman emperor. After Attila's death in 453, the Hunnic Empire quickly disintegrated, but the power vacuum they left behind allowed new kingdoms, such as those of the Franks and Ostrogoths, to rise. The Hunnic invasions remind us of the fragility of even the mightiest empires and the transformative power of external forces. Attila's campaigns not only hastened the fall of Rome, but also set the stage for the medieval world, where new powers would emerge from the ashes of the old. As we leave the era of the Huns behind, we prepare to explore another pivotal event that shaped the course of ancient history. Now turning to the construction of the Hagia Sophia, we step into the year 537 CE, a time when Emperor Justinian I of the Byzantine Empire sought to create a monument that would stand as a testament to his reign and the glory of his empire. The Hagia Sophia, meaning holy wisdom, was not just a church but a marvel of engineering and artistry that would dominate the skyline of Constantinople for centuries. The construction of the Hagia Sophia was a monumental undertaking, completed in just 5 years under the guidance of the architects Anthemius of Tralles and Isidore of Miletus. What made this structure revolutionary was its massive dome, which seemed to float above the building without visible support, creating an awe-inspiring sense of space and light. This architectural innovation was achieved through the use of pendentives, triangular segments that allowed the circular dome to rest on a square base. The dome's height and diameter, both measuring over 100 feet, were unprecedented at the time and set a new standard for Byzantine architecture. Beyond its architectural brilliance, the Hagia Sophia held immense religious significance. As the principal church of the Byzantine Empire, it became the spiritual heart of Eastern Christianity, hosting coronations, religious ceremonies, and imperial events. Its interior was adorned with intricate mosaics, marble columns, and gold leaf, creating a dazzling display of wealth and devotion. The building's grandeur was intended to reflect the divine order and the emperor's role as God's representative on earth. The Hagia Sophia also served as a powerful symbol of Byzantine power and resilience. Its construction came at a time when the empire was recovering from the Nika riots, a violent uprising that had devastated Constantinople. By rebuilding the city and erecting such a magnificent structure, Justinian sought to restore confidence in his rule and demonstrate the empire's enduring strength. Over the centuries, the Hagia Sophia's role evolved. After the Ottoman conquest of Constantinople in 1453, it was converted into a mosque with minarets added to its exterior and Islamic calligraphy adorning its interior. Despite these changes, the building retained its original grandeur, serving as a center of worship for both Christians and Muslims. Today, it stands as a museum, a testament to the shared cultural and religious heritage of the region. The construction of the Hagia Sophia reminds us of humanity's capacity for innovation and the enduring power of architecture to inspire awe and devotion. As we leave this monumental chapter behind, we prepare to explore another event that shaped the ancient world, one that highlights the spread of ideas and beliefs across vast distances. Now turning to the spread of Buddhism along the Silk Road, we journey into a time between the 1st and 6th centuries CE, when ideas, goods, and cultures flowed freely across vast distances, connecting the ancient world in ways that would leave a lasting legacy. The Silk Road, a network of trade routes stretching from China to the Mediterranean, was not just a conduit for silk, spices, and precious metals. It was also a highway for the exchange of ideas, and Buddhism was one of its most transformative passengers. Buddhism, which originated in India around the 5th century BC, began its journey eastward along these routes, carried by monks, merchants, and missionaries. These travelers shared the teachings of the Buddha with the people they encountered, adapting the message to resonate with local cultures and beliefs. The Silk Road provided the perfect environment for this exchange, as its bustling caravanserais and marketplaces became meeting points for diverse peoples and traditions. One of the key figures in this spread was the Kushan Empire, which controlled much of Central Asia during the 1st and 2nd centuries CE. The Kushans, who were great patrons of Buddhism, facilitated the construction of monasteries and stupas along the trade routes, creating safe havens for travelers and centers of learning for monks. These monasteries became hubs of cultural exchange, where Buddhist texts were translated into local languages and artistic styles blended to create unique forms of expression. The impact of Buddhism on art was profound. In regions like Gandhara, located in modern-day Pakistan and Afghanistan, artists combined Greek and Indian influences to create some of the earliest depictions of the Buddha in human form. These sculptures, with their serene expressions and flowing robes, became iconic representations of Buddhist ideals and spread across Asia, influencing artistic traditions in China, Korea, and Japan. Philosophically, Buddhism introduced new ways of thinking about life, suffering, and the nature of existence. In China, it merged with Taoist and Confucian ideas, giving rise to schools of thought like Chan Buddhism, which later evolved into Zen in Japan. These philosophies emphasized meditation, mindfulness, and the pursuit of enlightenment, shaping the spiritual lives of millions and influencing governance as well. Rulers in East Asia often adopted Buddhist principles to legitimize their rule and promote social harmony, integrating the religion into the fabric of their societies. The spread of Buddhism along the Silk Road is a testament to the power of cultural exchange and the enduring appeal of its teachings. As we leave this chapter behind, we prepare to explore another pivotal event in ancient history, one that would shape the course of European civilization and the balance of power in the medieval world. Now turning to the Battle of Tours, we step into the year 732 CE, a moment that would prove decisive for the future of Europe. This clash, often referred to as the Battle of Poitiers, pitted the Frankish forces led by Charles Martel against the advancing Muslim armies of the Umayyad Caliphate. The Umayyads, having expanded rapidly across North Africa and into the Iberian Peninsula, sought to push further into the heart of Western Europe. Their advance was met with fierce resistance at Tours, where Charles Martel, known as the Hammer, orchestrated a masterful defense. The Frankish victory at Tours was not just a military triumph but a turning point in European history. By halting the Muslim advance, Charles Martel effectively preserved Christian dominance in Western Europe, preventing the region from falling under Islamic rule. This victory also solidified the power of the Frankish kingdom, laying the groundwork for the Carolingian Empire, which would later be ruled by Charles Martel's grandson, Charlemagne. The battle's outcome had far-reaching implications as it helped shape the political and cultural landscape of medieval Europe. Beyond its immediate military significance, the Battle of Tours played a crucial role in the development of feudalism. Charles Martel's reliance on a professional, well-equipped cavalry force marked a shift in European warfare and governance. To sustain this new military system, he granted land to his warriors in exchange for their service, a practice that would evolve into the feudal system of lords and vassals. This system became the backbone of medieval European society, influencing everything from land ownership to social hierarchy. The Battle of Tours also underscored the growing divide between the Christian and Islamic worlds, a division that would shape centuries of conflict and cultural exchange. While the battle itself was just one moment in a long history of interactions, its legacy endures as a symbol of resistance and the preservation of European identity. As we leave this pivotal event behind, we prepare to delve into the next chapter of ancient history, where the rise of the Vikings would bring new challenges and transformations to the European stage. Now turning to the Viking raids on Europe, we step into the late 8th century CE, a period marked by the sudden and terrifying arrival of Norse seafarers on the shores of Europe. These raids, which began around the year 793 CE with the infamous attack on the monastery of Lindisfarne in England, signaled the start of a new era of upheaval and transformation. The Vikings, often portrayed as ruthless invaders, were driven by a combination of factors, including population pressures, the search for wealth, and the allure of adventure. Their advanced shipbuilding techniques, particularly the development of the longship, allowed them to navigate both open seas and shallow rivers with unparalleled speed and efficiency, making them a formidable force across Europe. The impact of the Viking raids was profound and far-reaching. Coastal communities and monasteries, often poorly defended, bore the brunt of these attacks, leading to widespread fear and disruption. However, the Vikings were not merely raiders, they were also traders, explorers, and settlers. Over time, their expeditions extended far beyond Europe, reaching as far as North America, the Middle East, and Central Asia. This dual role as both plunderers and pioneers allowed them to establish trade networks and cultural exchanges that reshaped the medieval world. One of the most significant legacies of the Viking Age was their eventual settlement and integration into European societies. In regions like England, Ireland, and Normandy, the Vikings established permanent communities, intermarrying with local populations and adopting aspects of their culture. This process of assimilation led to the creation of new political entities, such as the Danelaw in England and the Duchy of Normandy in France. The Normans, descendants of Viking settlers, would go on to play a pivotal role in European history, most notably with the Norman conquest of England in 1066 CE. The Viking raids also had a lasting impact on European politics and culture. The constant threat of invasion forced kingdoms to strengthen their defenses and centralize their power, contributing to the development of feudalism. At the same time, the Vikings' influence can be seen in the art, language, and legal systems of the regions they touched. Words of Old Norse origin, for example, became embedded in the English language, and Viking artistic motifs influenced the styles of the medieval period. As we leave the era of the Viking raids behind, we prepare to explore the rise of the Mongol Empire, a force that would reshape the world in ways even more dramatic and far-reaching. The Vikings may have begun as raiders, but their legacy as settlers, traders, and cultural influencers endures as a testament to their adaptability and ambition. Now turning to the rise of the Mongol Empire, we step into the early 13th century CE, a time when a single leader would unite the nomadic tribes of the steppes and forge one of the most formidable empires in history. This was the era of Genghis Khan, a visionary and ruthless conqueror whose name would become synonymous with both terror and transformation. Born as Temujin around the year 1162 CE, Genghis Khan rose from humble beginnings to unite the fractious Mongol tribes under his leadership, a feat achieved through a combination of charisma, strategic alliances, and sheer force of will. By the year 1206 CE, he had been proclaimed the universal ruler, or Genghis Khan, marking the official founding of the Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire's rapid expansion was nothing short of extraordinary. Under Genghis Khan's leadership, the Mongols employed innovative military strategies that allowed them to conquer vast territories with astonishing speed. Their cavalry, composed of highly skilled horse archers, was unmatched in mobility and precision. The Mongols also excelled in psychological warfare, spreading fear through their reputation for mercilessness and their ability to strike without warning. By the time of Genghis Khan's death in 1227 CE, the empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean in the east to the Caspian Sea in the west, encompassing much of Central Asia and China. But the Mongols were more than just conquerors. They were also masterful administrators who created a highly efficient system of governance. Genghis Khan established a legal code known as the Yasa, which promoted loyalty, discipline, and meritocracy. The empire's postal system, the Yam, facilitated rapid communication across its vast territories, while its tolerance of different religions and cultures fostered a degree of stability and cooperation rarely seen in such a diverse realm. This administrative prowess allowed the Mongols to maintain control over their empire and integrate the regions they conquered into a cohesive whole. The impact of the Mongol Empire on trade, culture, and the spread of ideas was profound. The Pax Mongolica, or Mongol Peace, created a period of relative stability across Eurasia, enabling the safe passage of goods, people, and knowledge along the Silk Road. This facilitated an unprecedented exchange of technologies, art, and scientific knowledge between East and West. For example, the introduction of gunpowder to Europe and the transmission of Chinese innovations like papermaking and printing had far-reaching consequences. The Mongols also played a key role in the spread of religions, including Buddhism, Islam, and Christianity, as they encouraged the movement of missionaries and scholars across their empire. As we reflect on the legacy of the Mongol Empire, it becomes clear that its influence extended far beyond its military conquests. The Mongols reshaped the political and cultural landscape of Eurasia, leaving a lasting imprint on the regions they touched. Their empire, the largest contiguous land empire in history, stands as a testament to the power of unity, adaptability, and vision. And as we move forward, we prepare to explore the final event in our journey through forgotten moments of ancient history, the devastating impact of the Black Death on the Byzantine Empire, a catastrophe that would alter the course of history in ways no one could have foreseen. Now turning to the final chapter of our journey through forgotten events that shaped ancient history, we arrive at the 14th century CE, a time when the Byzantine Empire faced one of the most catastrophic events in human history, the Black Death. This devastating plague, which swept across Europe, Asia, and North Africa, left no corner of the known world untouched. For the Byzantine Empire, already weakened by centuries of conflict and internal strife, the Black Death was a blow from which it would never fully recover. The Black Death, believed to have originated in Central Asia, reached the Byzantine Empire around the year 1347 CE. Carried by fleas on rats, the plague spread rapidly through trade routes and bustling cities where crowded conditions allowed it to flourish. Constantinople, the heart of the Byzantine Empire, was particularly hard hit. At its peak, the city was losing thousands of lives daily, with some estimates suggesting that up to half of its population perished. The sheer scale of death was unimaginable, leaving streets empty, markets abandoned, and a once thriving metropolis in a state of despair. The impact on the Byzantine Empire was multifaceted. First and foremost, the plague decimated the population, which had already been declining due to years of warfare and economic hardship. With fewer people to work the fields, produce goods, and serve in the military, the empire's economy began to collapse. Trade, once the lifeblood of Byzantine prosperity, ground to a halt as merchants feared traveling through plague-ridden regions. The loss of skilled artisans and laborers further crippled industries, leaving the empire struggling to maintain its former glory. The military, too, suffered greatly. With fewer soldiers available to defend its borders, the Byzantine Empire became increasingly vulnerable to external threats. This weakness was exploited by the rising Ottoman Empire, which began to encroach on Byzantine territories. The plague had not only weakened the empire's ability to resist invasion, but also eroded the morale of its people, who were left demoralized and fearful in the face of such widespread death and suffering. Beyond the immediate devastation, the Black Death had profound social and cultural consequences. The sheer scale of mortality led to widespread panic and a crisis of faith. Many turned to religion for answers, while others blamed minority groups or foreign traders for the plague's spread. This atmosphere of fear and suspicion further destabilized Byzantine society, creating divisions that would persist long after the plague had subsided. The broader impact of the Black Death on medieval Europe cannot be overstated. It reshaped the social and economic structures of the time, leading to labor shortages that, in turn, empowered the surviving peasantry and contributed to the decline of feudalism. The plague also spurred advancements in medicine and public health, as societies sought to understand and prevent future outbreaks. Yet, for the Byzantine Empire, the Black Death marked the beginning of the end. Already weakened by centuries of decline, the empire could not withstand the combined pressures of plague, economic collapse, and external invasion. By the mid-15th century CE, the once mighty Byzantine Empire would fall to the Ottomans, bringing an end to over 1,000 years of history. As we conclude our exploration of these 25 forgotten events, it's clear that each played a pivotal role in shaping the ancient world, and by extension, the world we live in today. From the rise and fall of empires to the spread of ideas and the impact of natural disasters, these moments remind us of the fragility and resilience of human civilization. Which of these events do you find most fascinating? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us as we continue to uncover the mysteries of the past. Now turning to the conclusion of our journey through these 25 forgotten events, it's remarkable to see how each moment, no matter how obscure, played a crucial role in shaping the ancient world. From the mysterious collapse of the Indus Valley Civilization to the devastating impact of the Black Death on the Byzantine Empire, these events remind us that history is not just a series of isolated incidents but a complex web of interconnected causes and effects. Each event, whether a battle, a natural disaster, or a cultural shift, left an indelible mark on the societies that experienced it, influencing the course of human history in ways that still resonate today. These forgotten events teach us valuable lessons about resilience, adaptation, and the fragility of human civilization. They show us how empires rise and fall, how ideas spread and evolve, and how even the smallest changes can have far-reaching consequences. The stories of the Sea Peoples, the Olmec Colossal Heads, and the Battle of Tours, for example, reveal the power of human ingenuity and the enduring impact of cultural exchange. At the same time, events like the destruction of the Library of Alexandria and the fall of the Western Roman Empire remind us of the importance of preserving knowledge and learning from the past. As we reflect on these events, it's clear that they have shaped the modern world in profound ways. The rise of the Persian Empire laid the groundwork for international diplomacy, while the unification of China under the Qin dynasty set the stage for one of the world's most enduring civilizations. The spread of Buddhism along the Silk Road and the Viking raids on Europe highlight the interconnectedness of ancient societies, a theme that remains relevant in our globalized world today. Which of these events do you find most fascinating? Was it the strategic brilliance of the Battle of Kadesh, the cultural achievements of the Gupta Empire, or the tragic fall of Carthage? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and insights. And if you've enjoyed this journey through ancient history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode as we continue to uncover the mysteries of the past. Together, let's keep exploring the stories that have shaped our world and the lessons they hold for the future.